Okay, so I think last time when we were discussing, we were looking at the model works. We finished up to 17th, if I am right. So we'll continue discussing that since I promised you that we'll look through all of that we had as examples here, like 45 of them. So we'll continue looking at it. Do you have like a different class or something? I see that the strength is too low. Is there something else going on? Fatma,
Yes, ma'am, not for me.
you have a different class going on at this time or no?
I don't have a different class.
You do not have it. Okay.
I do not.
All right. And because the last week also I did not see anybody. I did join, but then there was nobody around. So I thought maybe there's a clash with another class. But okay, no problem. We'll anyway continue. I wish to finish off this so that I can take up a new topic for the upcoming week. So, like we were doing the last class, we'll continue uh, looking at this question and I'll tell you, right, the context why, like we were doing in the last class. So, we'll begin with question number 18. That is, you dash not cross the fencing around the property. And just to introduce the topic that we're looking at model verbs, right? That is what these questions were for. And we'll continue looking at the question. So, which one do you think is a suitable model verb for this one? You dash not cross the fencing around the property. And um, say we are looking for a model verb which relates to general rules, policies, or procedures. If that's the case, then what would it be? But if we can, so see, the reference has to be towards policies or general rules. So you dash not cross the fencing around the property. If it is like a rule or if it's like a procedure or policy, then the suitable model verb is will. Okay, you will not cross the fencing around the property. Okay. This is particularly in the so can you if you say can, then it becomes cannot, right? So can is definitely not a possible model verb here, right? Um, will is the right answer if it is with respect to uh, you know general rules or policies or procedure. But is there any other uh, model verb which can come here? Can cannot come. It's not. But besides will, do you think something else can come here?
Should?
You should, right? So if you're using should, then basically what are you trying to do? Wherever you have should, it's basically a requirement sort of a thing, right? A requirement. So you should not cross the fencing around the property. So yes, should can also come in, but if it is with reference to general rules, policies, or procedures, then the answer is most often than not will. You will not cross the fencing around the property. And should too, right? Both would be right. If it, the context given is that of you know, um, um, requirement, then it has to be should. If it is in reference to general policy or uh, procedure or rule, then it has to be will, right? That's the difference. Both answers are
Yes.
correct, but the meaning is slightly different. That's all. Okay. Then the 19th one, parking in non-parking zones dash be punishable under law. Again, like this is also similar to the
Should,
question number
I
18,
feel.
right? So should, more than should, what else is the answer here? It's very
Will be
similar to
punished?
question number 18. Will, yes, right, will. So in questions which are of this nature, right, which is of the nature of an order or rule or policy or command, it's usually will, right? So you will not cross the fencing around the property. Parking in parking zones will be punishable. Non-parking zones will be punishable under law. Okay. 20th one. I dash love to host all of you at my home.
I would love to host.
I would love to. And this one is a indication of preferences or likes or dislikes, right? So I would, if
Yes.
you're talking about preferences, likes or dislikes, then the model verb used to be would. I would love to host all of you at my home. Just scroll this one. Just a moment. Right. This one, I dash like less sugar in my tea. And the context would be that again of preference.
I would like less.
Right. I would like less sugar in my tea. Right. But again, showcases preferences or likes. So I would like less sugar in my tea. I dash say the book is about good. I dash say the book is about good, and this is where you're expressing opinion and an uncertain opinion, not a sure opinion, but more like an uncertain opinion.
I shall say
No.
or
So
I
for
will say.
answer, I will say the book is about good. I would say. Okay. Even for
Okay.
this particular use, we're going to um, use the model verb would. Preference and like will also be would. And another use of another expression of the model verb would is when you want to express an opinion that is answer. Right? So here again you'll use would. I would say the book is about would. Okay. 13th one. I think it dash take about a year before the house would be built.
I think it would take.
Correct. Right? So it's similar to 22nd one. I think it would take about a year before the house would be built. 24th, my washing machine dash start yesterday. So this is a context. The context here is of refusal, right? Something refuses or something is in a state of refusal.
Won't start. Um,
Ah, my washing machine won't start yesterday, or more importantly, wouldn't. Okay, my
wouldn't.
washing machine wouldn't start yesterday. State of denial or refusal, right? My washing machine wouldn't start yesterday. Okay. 25th one, similar idea. They dash fix the tap even though it has been leaking since long. They dash fix the tap even though it has been leaking since long. Again, a flavor of
They
refusal,
should.
right?
Um,
Again, this is also refusal, right? Somebody has denied or someone has refused to do something. So again, wouldn't. They wouldn't fix the tap even though it has been leaking since long, right? Denial and refusal, all of them can take the, they more or less the same, and they would take in the negative form of the model verb wouldn't, right? So both 24 and 25 appropriately takes in the model verb would with the negative contraction, that is wouldn't. Okay, uh, that's clear, no?
yes. Yes, yes.
Just make a note of these things. I will also, like, by the time we finish the class, I'll just quickly revise with you on what is just you and me here. So I think I like these kind of classes.
Yes.
It's
That
better for both of us to get it clear. Huh? Sorry?
yes, ma'am. That would be good.
Yeah. So I'll just sum it up for you on, what are the different modalities that we have used at least for these 45 questions. If you know, have an idea of them, then it will be good enough for you to work on rest of them, right? And they're all
Yes.
based on what your lecture um, were on, right? So this has been collated based on all of the model works and their uses as per your lectures. So it will be a good revision for this. Correct. So, um, next one, that is 26. I wish the exam dash be over. I wish the
I wish
exam
the
dash be
exam
over.
would be over.
Would, right? Again, that is would because when you're making a wish again, the model verb you use is wish, right? So I wish the exam would be over. Correct. Then 27th one. My mom isn't answering my calls. She dashed be not at home. Now, this is in reference to Real possibility. So it's simply possibility. So for
She
possibility,
will.
what is it?
Uh,
No.
she might.
Recall? Recall? No, not might. So if it is possibility, and I'm not saying higher possibility or lesser possibility, right? May and might would come in only when that part is indicated. If it is generally, any possibility, then what is the uh, which model verb is associated with possibility in general?
Will.
No,
Wait,
could, right?
um,
Could is the one
oh,
that is associated. Possibility. Huh? So she could be not at home. Possibility. She could be not at home. Keep this in mind. May and might, we discussed this last time also. I'll just repeat for the sake of uh, clarity. They also help you indicate possibility, but they come into the picture only when the context very clearly indicates higher or weaker possibility. Which one among may or might is used to express higher possibility? Is it may or might? Higher possibility.
may.
May, right? May. So when you're almost, 50% and above sure about something, when you know the possibility of it is too high, you use may. When you know it's very feeble, very weak, then you use might. So that is the exact use of may and might. But if there is no such indication, there's no indication of the degree of this possibility, you want to, in general, refer to the possibility of something, then always the modal verb that you are going to use would be the word could, right? So, like in this sentence, this is a general possibility. My mom isn't answering my calls. She could be not at home, right? General possibility. Okay, I hope that's understood. Keep that in mind. Like
Yes.
ability, the major modal verb that you use to indicate ability is which one?
Can.
Can, right? Ah. So similarly, the the core auxiliary model that you use to express general possibilities could. Okay? So in the absence of the mentioning of high or low possibility, you can go ahead and mark could in the answer. 28. If I had wings, I dash fly. Now this is an imaginary situation, right? Hypothetical situation. So which one is suitable here? This model work?
I would fly.
I would fly, right? So would is also, along with all its other uses, like we saw in the previous sentences of refusal or denial, I mean the negative form, and preferences and likes, commands and policies, all of that, not commands and policies, preferences and likes and wish, right? Along with that, the uh, the other role or the other function that the model verb would has is also to show imaginary or hypothetical situations. So, example number 28, if I had wings, I would fly, right? Okay, next one, 29. We dash buy him a tuxedo coat. And this is in reference to suggestion. The context is suggestion. If I had wings, I
We shall
dash,
buy.
sorry, we dash buy him a tuxedo coat. Shall. Anything else that you want to suggest?
We could.
Any other model one? Not shall. This is not we shall buy him. We shall buy him a tuxedo coat is a grammatical sentence. It is not wrong, but it is wrong in the context of its usage as suggestion. If I want the model verb to be that which indicates suggestion, then which one is the
We
um,
could buy him.
correct answer? We could, right? We could buy him a tuxedo. Could is the model verb that you would be using to indicate suggestion, right? We could buy him a tuxedo coat. Correct. Next one. Dash, you like some cinnamon rolls?
Would you like?
30th one. Would you like some cinnamon rolls? And this is a sentence that indicates offer. When you're making offer of something to someone, then the modal verb that is actually used is would. Would you like some cinnamon rolls? The next one. Dash you please lock the door. What is this? This is a request, right? Dash you please lock the door. What would you use here?
Could you please?
Yeah. Could you please lock the door? Or alternatively, you can also say, would you please lock the door? Right? So this blank, it can either take the modal verb could. It could also take the modal verb would. Right? So could you please lock the door? Request, correct. Would you please lock the door? Again, it's a request and that's also correct. Both could and would applies. Okay. Um, Next one. This is something that is written to express permission, right? Dash, I borrow your vacuum cleaner. Dash, I borrow your vacuum cleaner.
Can?
Permission.
Can I?
Can I borrow your vacuum cleaner? If I have to make it polite, then
Could I?
can I borrow? Could I? So you can either use can or could in this blank. Both would be right, but if the question indicates polite use, then the choice of answer would be could. If nothing is mentioned, then can also be used, right? In this blank. So can I borrow your vacuum cleaner or could I borrow your vacuum cleaner in case you want to use it in the polite context? Next one. Dash you mind if I borrowed your iron box? Dash you mind if I borrowed your iron box?
Would. Would you mind?
Ah, would you mind? Right? Would you mind if I borrowed your iron box? So this is again for permission. So for permission, you can use both could and would. That means, but what is the difference between both of this? Can you tell me? Sentence number 32 and 33. Both are sentences that indicate or they're used in context of seeking permission. What is the difference? One has could as the modal verb, the other has would. 32 is could I borrow your iron cleaner? And 33 is, would you mind if I borrowed your iron box? What is the difference? This is a grammatical difference. If you can let me know, it would be nice. Could I borrow your vacuum cleaner? Would you mind if I borrowed your iron box? Do you see anything at least at the surface level?
There is some difference, but
There is some difference. And what difference is that? Don't you see that there's a difference in the tense used in both sentences? Right?
yes, yes,
So
there's a
could
tense.
I borrow your
Second one, there's
right?
a past coming.
Past tense. Yes, correct. So second one where you use would, that particular sentence has got a past tense in it. So could I borrow your vacuum cleaner? This is in present tense, right? And would you mind if I borrowed your iron box? If this is how the sentence is constructed, then if there's a past tense somewhere in the sentence, then the permission sentence usually begins with a would, otherwise a could, right? So that's the primary difference between these two. Both of them are permission sentences, but the one with would has a present tense verb in it. Okay, right. 24th. The heater is not working. It dash be a power outage. And the context is reduced result, deduction. Okay, so the second part of the sentence, basically the one which carries the modal verb, is a deduction based on the prior or previous awareness. What is the modal verb that you use to show deduction? A deduced fact. The heater is not working. It dash be a power outage.
It could be.
What could be? Could will be, that will turn the sentence into a possibility statement. But we are looking for a statement which looks like a deduction from a given scenario.
It must be then.
It must be. Correct. Very good. Right? So if you are looking at a deduction statement based on the given scenario, then the way you express it would be it must. Modal verb you should be must. The heater is not working. This is the premise you have, and from this premise, you're making the deduction that it must be a power outage. Right? Here, must is not used to show obligation, keep in mind. The most important function of the modal verb must is usually to show necessity and obligation. Here, that is not the case. Here, must is used to show a deduction that has been made from a previous or a given premise. Okay? So, this is also one of the use of the modal verb must, right? Like we discussed this already that uh, uh, a modal verb can have more than one interpretation. It has a core interpretation, but beyond that, it can have others. For must, the core interpretation is obligation and necessity, but additional interpretation includes this one, like the example we just saw, deductions made on the based on the previous given scenario or the previous. Okay? Right. Next one. 35. I dash meet my friend today. And the
Will.
context is okay. I'll give you the context and then you can answer.
Yes.
So we're talking about self-imposed obligation, a kind of obligation, but self-imposed obligation. I dash meet my friend today. So your answer is right. I will meet my friend today is fine, but uh, it's not suitable for the context we are looking for. I'm looking for a context where it's an obligation, obligatory statement, and a self-imposed obligatory statement. We just discussed if it's obligation, then it has to be
I must meet my
must.
friend.
Yeah, right. So self-imposed one, no matter what kind of obligation it is, self-imposed or social, so on and so forth, but it's basically an obligation. So we use the modal verb designated for that, which is must. I must meet my friend today. Now, what does it mean? Self-imposed obligation. When I say self-imposed obligation, is it a necessary obligation?
Yes, it must be carried out.
It must be carried out. I must meet my friend today. Not necessarily, right? It's not a very strong obligation. Self-imposed obligations and social obligations are not strong or necessary obligations. Is not something that is necessarily to be carried out, right? Not a necessary obligation. But I'll tell you what are necessary obligations. But you will know necessary obligations would be mostly rules, like commands, like regulations. These are all necessary obligations. Self-imposed one, like the sentence we just saw, and the social obligations, which we'll discuss in a while. Both of them are not. They're not necessary. They are obligations, but they're not too necessary. Okay. Um, Next one. 36. One dash be distracted while working on heavy machines. This is necessary obligation. One dash be distracted while working on heavy machines. A
Must be.
necessary obligation. Must, but what form of must? Is it must or
Uh,
something else?
might be.
No, no. The answer is correct, must. But you read the
Yeah.
sentence. If I write must there, will it be all right? One must be distracted while working on heavy machines. Is it right?
But one mustn't be distracted.
Yes, correct. So must is the modal verb, right? But you'll have to use it in the negative form, right, to make it right. So necessary obligation here. One mustn't be distracted while working on heavy machines. Okay.
Yes.
Now, next one. This is 37. I dash talk to you tomorrow about the project. I dash talk to you tomorrow about the project. And the context here would be intention. Intention.
I will.
Correct. I will, right? If it's intention, then the choice of modal verb is will. I will talk to you tomorrow about the project. It shows intention. Keep in mind, here will doesn't stand as a future tense marker. This is a modal verb which indicates intention, right? I will talk to you tomorrow about the project. Right. Dash we visit him today. Context, willingness. Willingness. Dash we visit him today.
We should. Should.
Shall, right? No, because this is a interrogative sentence, right? So shall. In the previous sentence too, that is 37, you could either write will or shall, right? You can also write I shall talk to you tomorrow about the project. I did not mention shall because, like mentioned previously, maybe in this class or some other class, shall these days is considered a little outdated use. So everywhere people have been using shall, we have replaced in the modern version, people have started replacing it with will. But nevertheless, if you use will and shall, whichever ones you use in that blank to indicate intention, it is not grammatically wrong. It's just that shall is a bit out of fashion these days. People don't use shall as much. Um, Similarly, for question number 38, dash we visit him today, you can either use shall or will. Shall we visit him today? Will we visit him today? Both will indicate willingness. Right? It's a question on people's willingness to show their willingness whether they want to visit the person that given day or not. Both are correct grammatically, but we prefer using will over shall, okay, because of the change use of components in the language, right? But grammatically both are correct. Okay? Right. Now, 39. The workers who do not abide by the guidelines dash be relocated from their respective departments. And context would be that of strong obligation. Strong obligation.
Must be.
Strong obligation again.
Must.
So this one, you look at the sentence carefully. The workers who do not abide by the guidelines dash be relocated from the dash be relocated from their respective departments. Right?
Is it should?
Not should. This is again a place where you can use the modal verb will. The workers who do not abide by the guidelines will be relocated from their respective departments or shall, right? Will or shall.
Mm.
Stronger social obligation, right? So for stronger social obligations, you can use shall. Okay. For self-imposed and what was the other one? Simple social, I mean, weak social obligations. What would you use? You use must, right? But for stronger social
Yes.
obligations like this, you have to use the modal verb shall or will. Both would be right. You can use any one of them, right? Right.
Yes.
Uh, okay. Next is 40. You dash prepare well to shine bright in the interview. And the context is requirement. Requirement. Or say alternatively, say advice or suggestion. Any of these. Requirement, advice, suggestion. We'll take the sentence to mean anything. What would be the model? What's the most commonly used one for requirement and advice? Let's forget about suggestion for the while because you use could also for suggestion, right? You saw that example.
Mm.
But for requirement and advice, you're advising somebody,
Should
then
prepare.
should, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
you should prepare well to shine bright in the interview, right? Requirement or advice. You should prepare well. 41. This project dash take a month to complete. Again, requirement. This project dash take a month to complete.
This project should take a month.
Yes, this project should take a month to complete. Again, requirement, right? This is not an advice here, but this shows a requirement. So this project should take a month to complete. When someone makes a sentence like that, they basically say that it would require a month to complete, right? Okay. Now, 42. The show dash be cancelled due to heavy rains. Probability. Probability. Or let's say high probability or high possibility. High probability
The
or
show
possibility?
may
Same
be.
thing. Correct. The show may be cancelled due to heavy rains. High likelihood, if the context mentioned is highly likely or high likelihood or high probability, high possibility, all of them mean the same, and your choice of model verb would be may. The show may be cancelled due to heavy rains. Now, 43. Dash I talk to the manager?
Shall I?
This is permission, and this is the most formal form of permission, for example. Then, most formal form of permission. What's the most formal form of seeking
Oh,
permission? May.
uh,
May.
may
Right?
I?
May. May. May I? May I is the most formal form of seeking permission. So, may I talk to the manager? 44. You dash may carry a water bottle with you. You dash may carry a. Oh, the answer is already given.
Yeah, may.
Okay, so what is the interpretation though? In case you dash carry a water bottle with you.
Like high possibility? No.
You dash carry a water bottle with permission. Yes, this is also permission. So the first one, uh, may I talk to the manager? This is also permission. The second one, you may carry a water bottle with you. This is also again permission, right? Formal permission. So see, when you talk about permission, what is the difference between question number 43 and 44? Both indicate permission. But in the first sentence, you are seeking permission. You are trying to take permission for something from someone. And in sentence 44, you are the one giving permission. And both are formal context. Right? Do you get the difference? Okay.
Yes,
Both
yes.
are permission statements. In the first one, you are asking for the permission. You're seeking permission. Second one, you are the one giving permission. Right? But in both cases, formal aspect of permission is always shown with the help of model verb. The most formal aspect is always shown with the help of me, right? Uh, which also means that sentence number 43 can be rewritten as can I talk to the manager, right? Or could I talk to the manager? Same thing for sentence number 44. You can carry a water bottle. You could carry a water bottle. You may carry a water bottle, right? So can and could is also additional. They can also be the additional possibilities to fill up those blanks. But of course, the formality scales differ, right? For the highest form of formality, you'll have to use may for both the permission sentences, whether you are giving the permission or you're taking, asking for the permission. Okay, just keep that. The last one, 45, the theater dash may be opened. Okay, this one also has the answer. Just tell me what is the meaning of it. The theater may be opened on the day of Hartal, but the people will not go. What does this mean?
It's a possibility or like a probability.
Yeah, both the same thing. It's a possibility, but what kind of possibility? By this time,
High
you should know
possibility.
that, right? We are looking at scales when we look at possibility and all of that. High possibility. See, one of the uses of may is certainly to show high possibility or high probability. You're right, but this is a special kind of sentence. So this is the kind of sentence which indicates a 50-50 chance, right? Read that sentence. The theater may be opened on the day of Hartal, but the people will not go, right? They may be open, but it's not necessary that just because it's open, it's going to achieve the result. That is, the people may not go there, right? Possibility is high, but then the chance that it is going to fulfill the result is different. So may is also used in that kind of situations, okay? Where uh, although the event by itself has high possibility, its result may not be steady, right? Which is in this case that the people would actually come to the theater, right? So cases where the result, the outcome or the consequence is unsteady or unstable, yet the chance of something to happen is high. Okay. The premise or the scenario that goes before it is really high, but the resultant event or the consequence may not be that strict, right? So in such situations also, the use of model verb may is applicable, right? These are all unique uses of the model verbs may and all. Most of the times, because you're in English too, right? In the English one course, you probably would have wound up by just saying what are the core meanings of each of the model verbs and be done with, right? But because this is an advanced course, and we also know that model verbs, each of them can have multiple interpretations, it's our duty to learn what are these different possible interpretations. This is why we are looking at this exercise and trying to see what different meanings, what different modalities can each of these model verbs express. Right? One is definitely core, which you already know, and then what are these additional meanings that they can. So may is in addition to its usual usage to indicate high possibility, high probability, whatever you want to call it. It is also used to indicate a specific unique situation like this, right? Where uh, there is an event which has a high possibility to occur, but its resultant consequent event may not be equally successful, or say a stable or um, an actually possible event, right? I hope you've understood that. Just read through the lecture slides again. I think there's one or two examples mentioned on this. I just brought it in because I thought these are the kind of examples which will slip past people while they're even learning or looking through the slides. Keep this one in mind, right? If you have a construction of this nature in the exam, then please know that the answer is may, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any questions, any doubts that you? I'm just going to sum up on, what each of these model verbs that we have used can represent, right? Because we're talking about multiple meanings and interpretations. But before I do that, any questions that that you might have had while we were discussing this, you may bring it up. These documents would all. This is an updated version. So after the class, I will ask them to upload this one. So once you get access to this file, there are, about 15, 30 questions, additional questions in this sheet. These I have used from a site that's mentioned here. You can um, go and check for the answers in the site as well. These are easy questions, right? The ones that we discussed, the first 45, these are the ones which have been designed based on your lecture slides, and they have been taken off from the explanation given in the slides. These 30 questions are additional and from this given site, mentioned site, right? This will have the answers as well, but these are easy. They are pretty straightforward questions, all the 30 of them. They're not complicated like the ones that we just discussed, right? So you can access and do this. Where can you find it? You will find it in the supplementary section for English too. All of these materials are usually uploaded there. You can access it from, it's uploaded week-wise, so you can access it from there. Okay. All right. Any questions? Anything that is pressing and you want to clear off with respect to model works? It's a very important topic, like I've mentioned in the class, not the last week. Last week no one was here, but the week before that. That is when we have started discussing on models, right? Anything that was hazy and you did not really understand what it meant?
No, ma'am, got it.
No, got it. So people who have
Yes.
joined in late or people who have not had a chance to attend this in person in the live class, you can go through the class, the session, and if you have any doubts, please write to us. Okay. Let me quickly summarize, right, on the different interpretation, possible interpretations for the model verbs. Um, so, if I'm talking about request, I think I'll leave it in the chat for you so that you can, so that it's easier for you to look at and make a note of if you want. Right? So, can, could, okay, I think I'll just go by the headings. Request, right? For example, if I'm looking for model verbs which can indicate request, right? Those would be can, could, and would, right? Most commonly, these are the three modal verbs that we are going to use while we are in need to express request, right? Similarly, if I'm to talk about permission, then can you comment? Which one can I use?
May, can.
Yes, yes. May, could, and can. Right? Could is sort of, in between in terms of formality. They are different from each other in the levels of formality. Right? May being extremely formal, could being less formal than may, and can being less formal than both may and could. That is very strong. Right? Next is possibility. So possibility, for general possibility, what do we use? Could. Right? In addition to could, you can also use can. Right? What else can you use for possibility? The last two that we discussed, may, might, right? All of
May,
them,
might.
could, can, may, might, they're all used to indicate possibility with a different, little bit of a difference in the meaning. Could is general possibility, right? Uh, may and might, again, to show degrees of possibility, high and low, right? Um, can, how about can? What kind of possibility does can indicate?
And informal.
Again, general possibility, like could is by default used for showing any type of possibility. Can would be for more kind of real and general possibility. May and might for degrees, high and low possibilities. Okay. Possibility sometimes you'll see the word replaced with probability or likelihood also. They're all the same. They all mean the same. Okay. They all mean the same in the context of model verbs. They have their individual meanings, but in the context of model verbs, possibility, probability, likelihood, they're all one and the same. There's no much of a difference. Okay, ability, ability definitely can, and
Can
then
and
we can
could.
also use yes, and we can also use could. Correct. Next is offer. You're making offer. Then
Would.
you can say yes, would, could, and also can. Right, all the three can, would, could. Next is requirement. We just discussed. If you have to show requirement, then what is the model verb you use? Should, right? Certainty. You're certain about something. Can't. That is the negative form of can. Right? Certainty is indicated through can. Willingness. Willingness.
Will.
Yeah. Will or shall. Right? Will or
Shall.
shall. Yeah. Orders and not in commands. Right? Orders and commands.
Must.
Again, will. Right? Orders and commands most only will. Intention,
Will.
will or shall, right? Both can be used, will or shall. Right. Preference or likes, preference or likes,
Would.
both, right? Partner's answering because she has been here in the session. Okay, so we have discussed all of this using examples and questions. That's why. Those of you have joined in late, you could revisit the session and check why and how all of these are being indicated, right? Why would for preference, why shall for intention, and all that. Okay? Not why, it's basically this is how we use it. We are not answering the question why is it used like that because these are language conventions. We basically discussed how we use these model verbs, right, to indicate ability of that requirement, so on and so forth. Okay. Uh, Reference, the next is advice. How about advice? Should. Okay. Advice
Should.
should. Yes. Opinions, particularly uncertain opinions. Would, right? So I would say that the book was about okay or about to give. So it's an opinion, but an uncertain opinion. So would. Even otherwise, even for certain opinions also, generally when you are expressing opinions, you can use the model verb would. Okay. Refusal, refusal, wouldn't, right? So negative form of would, wouldn't. Sorry, the spelling is wrong, but wouldn't. Okay. They wouldn't finish the work even after constant reminders. Right? So refusal wouldn't. Wish
Would.
would. Ah, then suggestion, suggestion.
Suggestion.
Could. One of it is could, other one is should, right? Could and should. So should has mostly two functions. One is to be used in advisory sentences and then in the suggestion sentences. Could also can be used to suggest. We have looked at examples of this. Imaginary or hypothetical situations. Imaginary,
Would.
good, right? Imaginary or hypothetical situations, of course, uses always the modal verb would. Okay. Next is necessity. Necessity,
Must.
must, right? Must. Necessity is indicated by must. Deduction statements. Deduction. Again,
Also must.
must, must. Obligation, obligation. Obligation, if it is self-imposed, then
Must.
must, right? Self-imposed, then must. And if it is a necessary obligation, again, you could either use must or mustn't, right? Must
Must.
or mustn't. Next comes prohibition. You're prohibiting somebody from doing something.
Shouldn't.
No. Prohibition is will or shall again. Okay. Intention, willingness, prohibition, all of them come under the same model words, will or shall. Okay. So more or less, you can maybe have a chart of this prepared and, readied with you. I put it in for the sake of people who have joined in late, but everyone I think can make a note of this, right? Uh, we have discussed about in 15 odd different categories. So it would be nice if you can keep a note of these things, right? Right. So that's all. Any questions that you may want to ask?
Ma'am,
Even if
regarding
you
quiz
haven't
two,
gone
what
through
are
everything. Sorry.
like regarding quiz two, what are the like more important parts that would come from which part?
There would be a focus on week 5 to 8, but the weightage is equal. So week 1 to 8, you can expect questions from uh, any module between 1 to 8, but maybe a little bit of focus more on weeks 5 to 8. That's all.
Because 7 and 8 is mostly like writing.
So you will have some theoretical questions based on that, and they might have an interactive question wherein they won't ask you definition questions, of course, but something that's a bit of an application, right? So go through that. If they have examples or anything discussed, make a note of that. Okay. Anything else? All right. So next week, I actually wanted to take a finish of the embedded clauses and kinds of subjects and all with you. But then because we missed the last week's class, I had to keep it up for the next week. And I think you will be done with the quiz 2 by then. Nevertheless, uh, I'm glad that the models have been discussed. Okay. So, there are more questions on this topic or anything else, you may write to us, or of course, we have the live session tomorrow, so you may join and get your doubts cleared there as well. Okay? But if there are no more questions, then I think we'll call it a day. We'll see you next week again. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. See you. Thank you everyone for joining me. See you next week.